What a year! I'm excited to take you on this photo journey of our ever-changing year. Stay tuned for great pictures from each month in our classroom. We spent our whole time in August on Zoom. The only people in the building were the teachers. And as you can see from these pictures, I cherished every moment that I had with you during our virtual time. There wasn't much going on in September. We were still online, and so there weren't many pictures to show. Here's one snapshot of our Zoom meeting. In October, we finally returned back to school. After many months of learning 100% online, we were so thankful to be back in the classroom together. My granny made you all these superhero masks with superheroes on one side and Spider-Man on the other. She did this so that you would feel like a part of our classroom and to welcome you back to school. Now, if you remember correctly, we were not back in school full time. We had Group A and Group B. Group A came to school on Monday and Tuesday, and Group B came on Thursday and Friday. And all students learned remote on Wednesday. It was a little too early to wave goodbye to Google Classroom and Zoom, because we were in a blended model, and it took us a long time to adapt to a new way of doing school. But after a little bit of time and effort, we all adjusted to a new way of learning. Thanks to Brenly, Mr. Todd dressed up as a bow tie for Halloween. And thanks to Chase, Mr. Todd dressed up as a Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee. Again, we learned a new way of doing school with Zoom and people in the classroom. In November, we had finally adjusted to being back in the classroom at least part of the time. We had 2 different theme days where students in Group A dressed up as doctors and worked with text features and different math problems. Students in Group B got to dress up like chefs and do the same activities as students in Group A, with just a little bit of a different twist to it. Mr. Todd celebrated Election Day by dressing up as the President of the United States. We also took some time to reflect on all the things that we were thankful for in our lives. Even in this difficult year with COVID-19 and school looking way different, we all were able to find things that really meant a lot to us and that we were thankful for. In December, Max the Elf finally made his return to our classroom, and he got into a lot of mischief by spraying Lysol and playing different games in our classroom. Also in December, we made Christmas trees out of ice cream cones, green frosting, and M&Ms. This was such a sweet way to celebrate the holidays. teachers had a lot of fun in December too. We had the Baby It's Cold Outside drive-through Christmas event, and the third grade teachers dressed up as the cast from Frosty the Snowman. Mr. Todd even made a few home visits in his elf costume and decorated his classroom with a space theme for Christmas. Coming right out of the holidays, January was kind of slow. The only thing special we really did was dress in our favorite sports attire. But don't worry, there was plenty of stuff learned in our classroom, just no pictures taken. In February, we celebrated the National Day of Play. Even the teachers got on board. Here are some pictures of you playing different games at your house. We also celebrated Valentine's Day in February. You were able to bring in treats for both Group A and Group B to exchange with one another. You could also have found a lot of Mr. Todds around the building in February as we celebrated Dress as Your Favorite Teacher Day. A bow tie and glasses were a very popular look for many students around the building, even students that were not in our class. Finally, in February, we made ice cream in a bag as we learned steps and procedures. We learned how to sequence the steps of how to make ice cream in a bag, and of course, we made it at the end. March was the month that we finally had been waiting for. We returned to school 100% full-time. We returned to school in Plan A, where all 18 students were back in their desks on the classroom. We said goodbye to Zoom and goodbye to Google Classroom as we transitioned to 100% in-person learning. During this time, we also welcomed 6 new students to our classroom from Ms. Shalava's class, as she transitioned to be a second grade remote teacher for the online students. We also celebrated Dr. Seuss's birthday in March and Women's History Month. Here you can see the teachers in their very many colors. We were so excited to finally get to play on the playground equipment again. If you remember correctly, when you returned to school in October, you were not allowed to play on the equipment. Here are some pictures of the first time that the playground was finally opened. We also learned about landforms in March. During this unit, you learned about all different landforms from around the world, and then you got to create a salt dough creation on your own. We let them dry overnight, and then you got to paint them. You also made a map and a postcard from your imaginary place and then presented them to various people in our building, including Mrs. May. April was a really busy month in Castle Hayne. We kicked it off with College and Career Week. Students wore their favorite college attire to kick off this week, and we had a really special visit in the car line from Sammy the Seahawk, the mascot of UNCW. We then dressed up as what we wanted to be when we grow up. Of course, Mr. Todd had to be the president, and the rest of you had some really big goals for your future, and I believe that you can accomplish all of them. The weather was so nice in April that Mr. Todd just had to snap a few pictures of those smiling faces behind the masks. Two of our students were named Hurricanes of the Week in the same week. We also had a family math game night where kits were sent home with you and you were able to play a math game and show your parents everything that you know about math. We also learned about states of matter and did a fun experiment where we watched vinegar and baking soda blow up a balloon on its own. We also had so much fun at the Castle Hayne Run for Fund. Our school raised so much money to buy new things for our school, and we were super thankful for our PTA for all that they did to make this event a success. And of course, we got to celebrate all the success of every student with a fun snow cone party after our run. Well, that brings us to our current month. We had 2 people accidentally twin in the same week, and that was super exciting. We spent a lot of time reviewing for the big test, the EOG, and you guys did your very best and worked super hard on the test. We met Trevor the Hippo, and we also heard a story from Miss Conley via Zoom. Mr. Todd's Gurney made each of you a bow tie or a hair bow, and we had a great time celebrating her bringing them to school and presenting them to you. I hope that you'll be able to keep this gift for a very long time and will cherish it forever. We are currently having the Castle Hayne End of Year Spirit Week. This day you wore workout attire, and then we also wore sunglasses because your futures are just so bright.